if your application numbers are down, you are not going to be successful if you continue operating up funnel in big volumes. That is my proposal. So if you think you're going to operate more in big volumes with less personalization, I think that's a mistake. I would encourage everyone with personalization to move down funnel and make really strategic actions to give your staff more and better data in which to interact with students in a more personalized and customized way.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of CRMprov. I'm already laughing. I'm already having a good time. I've got a close friend of mine as a guest, and I'm trying to think on season 3, I've had some good friends, but not really close friends. Not as close as Emily Smith and I are and have been since 2017.
I believe it.
When we first met through a shared client who we were just talking about before we record. Emily, you've been in higher ed for how long?
20 years.
20 years. That's hard to believe.
Yes.
Right behind me. But 20 years, you've worked in several areas. You've worked with, I'm going to try to name them all. And I don't have, this is improv, so it's not scripted. See if I get, I'm not going to name them all. I want to name some of them. Make sure I get them right. You work with Fire Engine Red.
Correct. First employee of the company.
You were the first employee.
Well, second employee of the company. Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. You also work with Target X. Do you know what number you were there?
No, 40 something.
40 something. So they were well underway at that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You were there, and you were at Target X for quite some time. 5 years?
8.
8. And today, you're at CollegeVine. You've been at CollegeVine for about 2 years?
Correct. Yes.
You're the vice president of partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Have a fun role. Is it exciting? Do you like what you do?
Yes, I love what I do. I love to break the student search machine every day.
Well, you know what? So there we go. We've already queued up. We're going to talk about admissions. We're going to talk about search. We're going to have a good time today. Emily, welcome to CRMprov.
Thank you so much for having me, Mickey. I love being on your show.
Oh, this is your second time, right?
Correct. I feel like the Saturday Night Live host who gets to harken back to all the times.
The 5-timer jacket? Yes. You're the second guest who's been on twice. Second guest has been on twice.
Okay, well, whoever that other person is, I'm racing you for third time.
You're already ahead. You're already ahead, right? But when he hears it, he's probably going to be emailing me. So just heads up. So we're going to talk a little bit about admissions and search, lead gen, all that good stuff with admissions. Of course, we're going to tie it together, see them like we always do. At CollegeVine, why don't you tell me a little bit about what CollegeVine does, and that way we can tie that in as well.
Ooh, very gladly. So CollegeVine is completely different than any other lead source out there. And you can think about CollegeVine, college folks out there can think about CollegeVine a lot like LinkedIn. I think most people are pretty familiar with LinkedIn. For students, where students create full professional profiles in order to get recruited by colleges. Okay. I'm like putting energy on that in order to, because they know what's happening to them. So students create full profiles. And the way it works for colleges is that colleges send out connection requests to students, and students choose to either accept or dismiss the connection request. And if the student chooses to accept the connection request, it shares all of the data from the profile directly into your CRM, and it lands there as like a very, very deep inquiry. And we know these are really deep inquiries because these students apply at least a 20% rate. The reason why that's so high is that students can only connect with a limited number of colleges on CollegeVine. So they're super selective about who they connect with and who they use up their connections with. And once students are in connection with the network of colleges that they care about, they can also choose to extend their profile into our direct admission program, which I think we might chat about a little bit later.
Yes.
But yeah, we have over 2 million students on our network. We have hundreds of colleges recruiting, thousands of guidance counselors who are doing, high school counselors who are doing a ton of work on our platform. So yeah, thinking about us like LinkedIn, where we're a network that brings everyone together, is kind of the best thing to keep in your mind.
The first thing that comes to my mind, if I put on my admission counselor hat,
tell me,
is the fear of rejection. Like if you put a request to connect with someone, they say no, like, oh, what does that do to your spirit? I don't know. There's a with
Well,
list,
okay,
I can
how
buy a
does it
list and
feel?
whatever happens,
Oh,
and
because
maybe
it's
we'll get this, maybe we'll.
impersonal. You get a 2% click rate and you feel great about it. That's lame.
Yeah. Well, as the counselor, I never see that part of it. There's just all these names. Here, I mean, is the admission counselor the one that's making the request, or is someone else in the
Good
institution
question.
making the request?
Typically not. Typically, this is happening at a leadership level, director or the
Okay.
VP running campaigns in bulk.
Okay.
So typically you're building criteria about like, we want these students in these areas with really high affinity because our affinity model is running in the background of everything. So typically we're building audiences to go out and connect with. But like, you're not spending time on the students who are not good fits for you. You're not spending time on
Yeah.
the students who are not going to respond to you. So
Yes.
it doesn't,
On a
there's
million
not
names
negative
where
psych.
25,000 are really relevant. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the students have a limited number of colleges they can accept their connections with. Do colleges have limits on the amount of students they can invite to connect?
No. So actually, colleges can connect with unlimited numbers of students. They only pay us when they want to export them into their CRM.
Okay.
So colleges can join CollegeVine for free, connect with a boatload of students, and you decide if you want to export them.
Wow. And how does we're going way into the weeds here on
Mm-hmm.
this, but I'm intrigued. I want to know more. So how does that export work? Do I get a file that I'm uploading, or is it created like some type of real-time integration? How does that connection work?
Always with the CRM. So yeah, I mean,
Wonder why.
names and data, weird. Names and data are only as good as the integration with your CRM and how they land, right? I know we agree on that front.
Yes.
For Slate customers, there is a direct integration via a suitcase or briefcase that you just install, and the integration runs just like any other source. Our last customer who implemented with Slate onboarded that Slate integration in under 30 minutes. It's easy.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Salesforce, who knows like what you have implemented if you're a Salesforce customer.
64 different ways you could bring the folks in.
Yep. It could be data loader. It could be Informatica. It could be all the different things. So that really depends on your instance or your org of CRM with Salesforce. But for any other customer, any other CRM, we would provide a flat file. You would map it, and it would run automatically on a schedule.
So the information, well, I guess I can make 1,000 requests today, 1,000 requests next week, whatever. However I'm doing my work, they're always coming. Are there particular data points that you find your clients, the college universities, most excited to see that they haven't really seen when they're getting leads in the past?
Yes. So we have all of the usual stuff, right? Where a student goes to high school, where they live, their address, their information. I would say the unique pieces of data are persona and preference data that are coming from CollegeVine because students spend a lot of time with us and do a lot of psychographic testing. Students are coming back every other week. So the profile data that we have in general is very, very deep. They're updating it all the time. The persona and preference data is really helpful for schools who can take on a little more segmentation in terms of connecting with students and messaging students. And then later, once they're in their CRM with a particular persona or preference, knowing a little more about the student so that they can start that relationship at step 3 instead of like step -1, like, hey, Mickey, tell me about yourself. It runs a little bit more like, hey, Mickey, I think you're going to really care about the practical outcomes of college. And then you immediately feel seen and heard. So persona and preference. Parent data. We have parent data on, I think, about 80% of our students. We also have financial contribution for a great number of our students too. So you get a really clean perspective on what a student and a family can pay. And typically that is being entered by the parents who are collaborating with the student on their profile. So yeah, persona, preference, parent, and financial information.
All the P's.
Sort of get me a P with money, then I will get it all into P's.
Surely there's some country that has currency in a P. The pound. The pound.
Okay, persona, preference, parents, and pounds. Yes.
That's right. Well, now that we said pound, are all of your students here in the United States? Are they in North America, across the world? Where's your focus?
80% of them are in the U.S., and we're distributed across the whole country. We have a student in every county, and 20% international students. So traditional age domestic undergraduate students are really like our bread and butter.
Yep. So some of what you said was, well, I don't say some. A lot of what you said was really like my mind was spinning. And I know we want to talk direct admissions, and I want to pivot there in a minute. But I'm thinking back to probably the last 4 conversations I've had with clients. So much of that conversation, including in a conference session, actually, I would say last week that I did, but is about the data we have about our prospects. In order to, the premise is, in order to be an advanced user of a CRM, the really advanced stuff that everybody wants to do requires a lot more data, so that we really know more about the prospective students in order to be more advanced in our communication and advanced in our ability to understand where they are, what their questions are, what their concerns are, all that stuff you want to know. You have to have more data to really get it. And so it sounds like you're expediting that collection of data for me, in a sense that the student's already interacting with you.
Yes.
They're already sharing things with CollegeVine. And then if they connect with me, I'm already getting a couple of steps ahead, because one of the struggles with schools is sometimes deciding, well, what is the data I really need to know? How the heck am I ever going to ask and get that data? They don't have that. But here, you're doing that for them.
Yeah, totally. Our students spend a lot of time on CollegeVine because they're there to groom their profile, build their list of schools, consume a ton of information about going to college and how to organize themselves and their extracurriculars. So we have them as a captive audience. They come back about every other week and spend a lot of time with us. And the profile is really the thing that they spend time with. Interestingly, not only do we have more and different data than any other source, because the college isn't collecting it, and because the student doesn't view CollegeVine as, I think the students view a lot of platforms as like, let me chuck some information at this form so that I can get this $20 scholarship. Or let me throw some information at this form that I don't really care about so that I can get this article that I want to read, right? Like, they know exactly why they are on CollegeVine, which is to get recruited by colleges. So the amount and quality of information that we have is excellent, because we are explicit with our students about why they're there and what's going to happen to them when they're there.
So now let's talk direct admissions.
Sure.
What do you think about direct admissions? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
What a question. Good or bad? Binary.
We didn't script this. I didn't tell you I was going to answer. It just came like,
no.
Is it a good thing or bad thing? Some schools have bought all in. Not everyone has gone in. I don't see it as a bad thing, but
I think it's a good thing when it's done well. But we are also in this chapter of direct admission, meaning a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
That's
okay?
It, yes.
Like, direct admission, does it mean, Mickey, if you apply, I will admit you? That's not direct admission. Does it mean, Mickey, I'm going to send you a pre-populated application for you to complete, and then maybe I'm going to admit you? No, that's Senior Search 2.0. Sorry.
Yeah.
Does it mean, like, doing spray and pray with a vendor who's going to get you less than 1% match rate across huge volumes, which is going to damage your brand? Like, okay, you could do it that way. We don't do it that way. We don't do any of those things. We have our students opt into a direct admission program. Again, they explicitly understand that they are extending their profiles into direct admission. And we have schools match with students based on really specific criteria, and on purpose on smaller numbers, because they yield just like regular applications in our world. So for us, a student gets an offer of a match. Would you like to get a match with this school? And they can say yes or no. So again, our perspective on direct admission is way higher signal than creating offers across thousands or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of students in a way that I think is really brand damaging. So yes, when direct admission is done thoughtfully and down funnel in a way that preserves your genuineness, your humanity, and your brand, I think it's great. I think it's great for students when it lands in that way.
So it's a good thing, at least from a CollegeVine perspective.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so we're going to ask one more question. It's not an easy question. 3 things. Can you give me 3 things, 3 pieces of advice you would give a VP of enrollment, Dean of admissions, pick the title, today, as we're recording this, and we're recording this today is December 4th. So 3 pieces of advice if their apps We're coming off the app deadline, right? The early app deadline, December 1 deadline. So say our numbers are down 10 or more percent. 3 things you think they could do to help recover. That is a tough question. I wouldn't want anyone asking me that question. This is not scripted, but I think you can answer with one thing is to be honest, like if they're not using CollegeVine, they should be using CollegeVine. It sounds like to me because the amount of information I'm able to get from someone to expedite that recruitment cycle is definitely there. So I would say that. I probably just took the one that came to your mind first too. So now,
well, no, I would actually put this under a header of you should use CollegeVine because, of course, I believe that. I think I'm writing.
Yep.
And I hope your podcast thing scrubs out. Can your podcast thing scrub out my?
It has an AI tool that will help shorten up delays and pauses. But now that we talked, we filled the delay and pause, and so it won't delete that out. And to be fair, I've never asked anyone this hard of a question on the spot on the show.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
3 things that a VP can do right now, given that they see applications are down post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, ahead of application deadline. Okay.
Yep.
Number 1, I think this is all under a heading of like, you should use CollegeVine. I think everyone should. Number 1, personalization. I think better personalization and customization of all of your communication and any interaction that your staff has with students. If your application numbers are down, you are not going to be successful if you continue operating up funnel in big volumes. That is my proposal. So if you think you're going to operate more in big volumes with less personalization, I think that's a mistake. I would encourage everyone with personalization to move down funnel and make really strategic actions to give your staff more and better data in which to interact with students in a more personalized and customized way. And I would be adding segments to your emails that do the same thing. So personalization is number 1. Anything you can do to move yourself down funnel in general is number 2, because you don't have time at this point, December 4, you don't have time to meet a student from nothing. And you don't have many tools out there available to meet a student from nothing, convert them through all the top stages of the funnel, and then get them to apply. So I think the things that you can do to meet them down funnel would be connect with students on CollegeVine, would be to do more personalization and sort of get your staff way better prepped in any remaining events that you have in the fall yet to come or early winter. And in those events and in that sort of like down funnel move to bring on anything like, a decision day or your application and not, an application workshop at local high schools to get application numbers up. The third thing, and this is obvious because we just talked about it, is direct admission. Direct admission can function well in that state of apps being down after Thanksgiving. Direct admission can function well as a scalable on-demand channel of applications. You have to be really careful about how you treat those applications so you don't torpedo your yield if you care about that. But if you're really just caring about this short-term thing on applications, I think direct admission and adding a direct admission program, particularly one that you can roll out and start making application offers immediately, like we do at CollegeVine, would be a way to correct your application volume. So those 3 things: more personalization in all senses in terms of relationship building and communication; 2, moving yourself down funnel in all of your staff's actions and behaviors; and 3, potentially looking at a direct admission vendor partner to bring on to correct your application volume.
Now, was that hard?
Yes.
Easy.
It was hard.
It was hard, but it was an excellent answer. 3 great tips. And that's where we're going to pause. Emily, as always, thank you for spending a little time together on the show. I really like what you're doing at CollegeVine. I really like what CollegeVine is doing. And for anyone listening, again, this is an unpaid thing. If you're not looking at the data that they have and trying to take advantage of the ability to collect leads with real data that really are connected and interested in you, more interested in these high volume components or lists that might be out there that Emily was talking about, that is a great opportunity. I'm all about data and finding that real connection so that we're looking for context as we understand where a student is, what their questions are, what stage in the enrollment process they're in, where they're getting stuck. We want to know those things. And a lot of that data that you don't have, that you really need, it sounds like CollegeVine has found a great way to have it and deliver that for you. So
yeah, we definitely do. And especially in this era of, search name availability going down 40 to 80% or whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
You really do need different
Mm-hmm.
sources, different pieces of data, not only like more data on the individual students so that you can engage them better, but just different sources. It's a crazy time to be alive.
It is. Well, I think it gives this CollegeVine is a great opportunity for that. So anyone listening, if you've not heard them, look them up. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, we did mention LinkedIn, check out Emily's show, The Vine Down. Is it every Thursday?
Every Thursday. Yeah. The Vine
Every
Down with Emily
Thursday,
Smith.
live. Yeah. It's a live stream, not recorded like this one. Live, real time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Check out The Vine Down on LinkedIn. Emily, thank you for joining us today. Greatly appreciate having you on the show.
Thanks, Mickey. Love to be here.
Yes. And to everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and we look to share more with you on CRMprov. Thank you.